We're in Fort Wayne, Indiana for the first NCAA Men's Volleyball Championship of the new millennium. In 1994, Penn State shocked the world, upsetting UCLA to become the first non-California team ever to win the NCAA Men's Volleyball Championship. 1 year later, the Bruins exacted revenge by hammering Penn State 3-0 on their way to their 15th NCAA title. Their last encounter in the tournament, 1997, UCLA surviving a 5-game thriller. Tonight, UCLA Penn State 2000. The rivalry continues. This is Allen County Memorial Coliseum. We're set and ready for the NCAA Men's Volleyball National Semi-Final #1, featuring the Penn State Nittany Lions and the UCLA Bruins. 4 teams are here, the Lions and Bruins in semi #1, Ohio State and Pepperdine in semi #2. Hi again, everybody, and welcome along with Heather Cox. I'm Chris Mahler. For the last 3 decades, UCLA has dominated the world of college volleyball. But in the last 2 seasons, some are saying that it's getting to be a world of parity. Agree or disagree?
I definitely agree, and I think parity is great for this sport because traditionally, yes, the power has been on the West Coast. In fact, of the 30 titles awarded, 28 of them have gone to California teams. But this year, it's an entirely different story. 4 teams have been ranked #1. There have been a lot of upsets, and it's anybody's title this year.
In preseason, UCLA was ranked as low as 7th. They were seeded 4th in the conference tournament. A little earlier, we asked Al Skates if he thought his team was an underdog coming into this tournament.
Once we get here, we're never the underdog. Once we're here, we're always the favorite. We've been here 21 times and we've won 17 and taken 4 seconds, so I would think we're the favorite.
And this could be one of the weakest UCLA teams to ever make a national semifinal appearance, but suddenly, yes, they are favored. The difference, certainly Al Skates and the history. UCLA has never lost a semifinal match, and for Penn State, totally different story. They are accustomed to being the underdogs. In fact, they've been here 15 times, and they've only walked away with the title once.
To get to the national semifinals, you need leadership. Both teams have it. Brandon Talaferro for UCLA, Jose Quinones for Penn State.
Talaferro's a 4-time All-American with amazing skills, but what sets him apart is his leadership and his commanding court presence. It sounds like a cliche, but Brandon will do whatever it takes to win. For Quinones, he has been the difference and the glue for Penn State through the tournament. He's a quiet leader, but he holds himself accountable for everything. The key tonight will be, can he keep his young hitters composed in the tournament?
Heather and I are pumped up. The most nerve-wracking match you will play all year, national semifinals. You see the faces of the gladiators getting ready to do battle. Starting lineups, first serve next. Tonight's NCAA Men's Volleyball National Semifinals being brought to you by Spalding, the official ball for the NCAA Volleyball Championship. Back in Fort Wayne, Indiana, NCAA Men's Volleyball National Semifinal #1 between Penn State and UCLA. Penn State's starting lineup opposite will be Zelko Kolchasar, Carlos Guerra, Eric Houston are the outside hitters, Dan Hoax, Adam Whitescarver in the middle. Jose Quinones is the setter, and a new position this year, the designated defender, Steve Ayer. Mark Pavlik, head coach for the Nittany Lions in his 6th year. He's been to the national semifinal 5 of his 6 seasons, averaging 26 wins per season. Good coach. UCLA's starting lineup. Bruins are big. Evan Thatcher starts opposite. Mark Williams, Matt Comer are the outside hitters. Seth Burnham is in the middle. Senior, along with freshman Scott Morrow. Brandon Talaferro is the center, and Matt Davis is the libero. Al Skates in his 38th season 17 titles, 19 national championships, the first active coach ever inducted into the Volleyball Hall of Fame while he's still going.
And UCLA has set the record for the most appearances and the most titles. They have 17 national titles. Penn State's number 2 in appearances at 15, but ironically they have just one title that came in '94 right here on this floor against UCLA.
The officials are referees Rick Olmstead from the West Coast. His claim to fame, he is a high school coach, a very good one. He coached Karch Karai as a high schooler. And the second referee is Bill Stevens. So UCLA will serve first. The Bruins wearing white, Penn State in blue. Brandon Talifero set to serve it up. It will be the best 3 out of 5 game match, each game to 15 points. You can only score when you serve. 5th game is rally scoring if we get there.
These two teams met once already this year, January 26th in Hawaii. UCLA came away with a 3-1 victory. Al Skates has used so many people, though. This is a much different UCLA team.
Now, when you look at the floor, you'll see a player in a different colored jersey. That is the libero, the designated defender. We'll have more on that in a minute. And the first serve. And Houston hits it into the bottom of the net. That is going to be a point for UCLA.
And already UCLA getting exactly what it wants. This is the strongest rotation with the setter, Brandon Talifero, serving, and this is the rotation that worries Penn State. Can they pass?
Ace serve for Brandon Talifero, one of the most feared servers in college volleyball. That's his 53rd ace on the year.
And what makes his serve so good is he serves down the seams. Look at him go in between 2 or 3 different players and make them talk about who's going to pass.
Rebound coming over. Burnham has it. Set left. And the little tap down goes. So the put away for Matt Comer. Comer is a 6'7" sophomore from Los Alamitos, California. Bruins up 3-0. 2 timeouts per team per game. Pavlik not using one yet. Quinones into the middle. That's what Penn State needs to do. Heather, they've got to get the ball to their middles, Hoax and White Starker.
And that's exactly what they did off the Talifero serve. Brandon took a little bit of heat off Penn State, finally able to get the pass, and when they do get the pass, they're able to terminate.
Serving is Eric Houston, a junior from Pennsylvania. Back set, ball dug, it's going out of bounds and will not be retrieved.
What a sweet set that is. Brandon going up with one hand. That's so deceptive as a setter jumping. Even though he's in the back row, he was able to fake Penn State out.
Seth Burnham give him the kill, a senior from Santa Cruz, California. The service error. You're going to see a lot of serving errors in this match. You'll see a lot of aces. Perhaps the team that serves best has the best chance to win. Set to serve is Dan Hoaxed. Good pass by UCLA. Talifero sets left. Over the top and down. That is Mark Williams getting his first kill. Williams, the lefty from Australia. And that's going to be an ace, recorded as an ace as Seth Burnham gets the Bruins another point. So UCLA off to a very fast start, and Penn State has to call timeout.
And that's no surprise. I talked to Mark Pavlik yesterday about when he'd call timeouts, and he said, I will do it in a hurry. This team has the propensity to get a couple of points scored against them in a hurry, so Mark wants to stop the bleeding as quickly as possible.
We mentioned that the libero position, there he is for UCLA, and of course that is Matt Davis, a first-team all-conference selection. Let's tell you what the libero is. New rule internationally, picked up by the college game.
And obviously wearing a different jersey, that helps the officials recognize, because he can come in and out of the game without stopping the game or checking in to substitute. He's a backcourt specialist only. He can sub at any time, but may not attack or serve, and can only set with his hands from the back row and bump set in front of the 10-foot line.
Now, if you're wondering what libero means, it's a Spanish term meaning free, the free position, free to roam, free to dig, free to pass. And there is the libero for Penn State, Steve Aird, 6'2" sophomore from Canada. And the Bruins counted with Mark Williams, they counted with Matt Davis, the 6'4" senior from Encinitas, California.
Davis stands on the sideline at the bench, but you'll watch him. He'll go in and out with freedom for a sub. The only rule is he must sit out one serve in between substitutions.
Little jump floater. Quinones out of the back line and tapping the ball down is UCLA. Of course, that is the big fella, Evan Thatcher. He's from Carlsbad, California, stands 6'8".
Thatcher, a two-year starter, has been off and on this year. Ed Ratledge also shares that position. Interesting to decide who's going to play. It's decided during warm-ups.
5-0 is our score. Burnham having a good opening segment. Over to Thatcher, ball blocked. Burnham, Talaferro, back set. Thatcher, see ya. Evan Thatcher, he needed just 6 kills coming into this match. He now needs 4 to pass Tom Stillwell on UCLA's all-time list and move into 6th place.
And with Talaferro, one of the most focused, intense competitors on the squad.
6-0 as Quinones jams it over, but he touched the net. He touched the net. That's going to be another UCLA point.
So far, nothing going right for the Nittany Lions. This is a tight pass. They're having trouble controlling the jump serves of UCLA, and Quinones trying to joust, goes into the net.
Quinones jousts that time, and UCLA into the net. Mark Williams.
The key in that joust is to be the last one to touch the ball. Basically, you're going up both pushing as hard as you can, and this time it's Williams that goes into the net. A good side out for Penn State. Now they need to get on a roll with some heat behind their serve.
Quinones, good serve. Talaferro sets the quick, and the put away by number 14, Scott Morrow, a highly regarded freshman from Encinitas, California. That's down San Diego way. Give him the kill. And now Evan Thatcher will serve. Quick set, put away. Adam Whitescarver coming through. Whitescarver, a good player, good blocker, excellent hitter.
And what UCLA was trying to do with that short serve to area 2 was take Whitescarver out of the rotation, but what they did was bring him right into it with good ball control.
7-0 UCLA all over Penn State here early. Thatcher with heat, and he puts it away. Now, interestingly, Thatcher usually stays in, Heather, until he runs out of gas or shows no heat. And then they'll bring in Ed Ratledge, another lefty bomber, so they have a two-headed monster in that position.
Right, and Al Skates has used both of them freely. He decides during warm-ups which player he thinks is the most loose. Thatcher has been the traditional starter, but if he looks a little tight, Ed Ratledge will get the go.
Number 5, Mark Williams, whacked his jumper out of bounds. Once again, it's traditional scoring. Serve to score a point until you get to game 5. Then it's rally scoring. Into the middle, Talaferro setting Morrow. Morrow playing with a wrist tape on his right thumb. He's had a broken thumb, and interestingly, Penn State complained, I believe, and made him take that soft cast off his thumb.
Right, it was actually, he had a hard cast, a real plaster cast. They asked him to remove it, so this morning he now has a soft cast tape job.
7-0, and another put away.
And so far, you're seeing that confidence that we talked about with UCLA. There is a certain mystique that comes with 17 championships that's hard to play against.
Timeout called. National semi-final number 1. The number 1 seeded UCLA Bruins stomping the Penn State Nittany Lions at the moment. 8-0. We're coming back. We're back in Fort Wayne, Indiana, in the midst of semifinal number 1, game 1. UCLA leading Penn State 8-0. Now, if you want to see semifinal number 2, Ohio State and Pepperdine, you can see it Saturday morning at 3 a.m. Eastern, midnight Pacific. But yes, we are prime time in Hawaii at 9 p.m. That will be Friday night in Hawaii. Don't miss that one. Ohio State Pepperdine figures to be a great one. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. UCLA.com. Chris Marlowe and former Pacific star Heather Cox. UCLA all over Penn State. Why so far?
Well, Penn State has no ball control. They have not been able to handle UCLA's serve, which is the Bruins' strength.
And Evan Thatcher, UCLA, if they do have an Achilles heel, it is for defense, with the exception of Matt Davis. They're not a great group of biggers.
And luckily, blocking and serving has been able to score points. What they need to do tonight is score in the side out, which is that ball control and defense.
Zelko Kojasar with the serve, and a little tip down by Brandon Talafero. Talafero bothered by a bad back this year. He also had a viral infection, which they subsequently found was a parasite that was causing weakness as he waxed the ball out of bounds. Al Skates sat him out for 20 days, and he has come back very healthy. He told me the back was a little stiff tonight, but he's ready to go, and he is the key man for Al Skates in UCLA.
He will do everything he can to be on the floor. A lot of people wrote him off and thought that his season was finished with that back injury, and he did everything he could with rehab and strength to get back on the floor. I mean, he came to UCLA wanting to win 4 national titles. He's won 1. He wants to walk away with 2.
Eric Houston serves the ace, so Penn State on the board. Going like many Penn State UCLA encounters. UCLA gets out to a big lead. Penn State tries to come back. Houston over the top. Talafero back set. Comer off the top. Chance for a point right here. Quinones back set. And the rip, but it's blocked. Number 1, Seth Burnham, right there.
And great adjustment that time, moving Evan Thatcher to the left side, Comer to the right. Thatcher's the best end blocker on the team. You see number 9 in white, he's on the left, normally on the right side of the court, able to stop the big potent backside attack from Penn State.
So Matt Comer set to put the ball in play. 12 aces on the year, modest numbers. And down the line goes the big hit. That is Carlos Guerra, a 6'6" freshman from Mexico. Recruited actually by Ivan Contreras, the former Mexican star who played at Penn State.
And has a huge approach. You saw he was way back about the 15-foot line. No surprise that he leads with more than 4 kills a game.
One of the great freshmen in the country, as that ball's whacked, and that ball is good. Mark Williams.
And believe it or not, Chris, that is UCLA's first hitting error. Before that, they were hitting, oh, check that, that's a kill. I thought that was long. So 11 kills, 0 errors now. UCLA hitting 85%.
8-1 in game 1. Quinones, left side, Guerra blocked, and it is in there, says referee Rick Olmstead. On the line to now make it 9-1. UCLA with Thatcher up front. He's 6'8". Williams is 6'7". And the other big guy, Morrow, is 6'8". So UCLA with a big front line, and it is paying off.
And Jose Quinones winning his 2nd joust of the evening. Penn State needs to pull that pass off of the net, but Quinones doing a nice job handling it. Once again, the last one to touch wins that joust play.
Quinones, jumper down the line, could be a point coming up. Guerra with the jam. You know, Guerra is built a lot like Contreras. In fact, everybody in State College calls him Little Ivan because he's built just like Contreras, very strong, very powerful.
Guerra playing on the Mexican national team during the summer. Took a lot of the fall off to recover from that.
9-2 is our score. Game 1, national semifinal number 1. UCLA, the number 1 seed. Al Skates' team, as we mentioned, picked very low in preseason. In the conference tournament, seeded 4th, but coming through and defeating Pepperdine to get here. That ball spiked over the top and out. And Penn State just unable to find its rhythm so far.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Thatcher goes back to that area too. They're trying to take Whitescarver out of the offense on this rotation, but they're just channeling the ball to number 4.
Keep in mind, overhand ball handling on the first contact is legal. If you can whack it up there with a hand or 2, it is good. Guerra with his 3rd kill, and he will serve. Everybody's got a jump serve these days. Off speed, Davis, great pass, left side, Williams hits tight, and he jams it down. They tell you as a blocker, Heather, if the ball is set tight, you've got to take line because there's nobody there. Penn State didn't.
He's got to seal off that antenna. You see about a foot of wide open court for Williams to go through, and that play started with the great play of the libero, Davis.
Jump serve out of bounds. UCLA's errors, the 4th serving error for UCLA against, how many aces, Michael? 2 aces for the Bruins, so pretty good serving ratio so far. Comer with the drive.
And it is just out of bounds. And a nice job by Penn State forming that block. They know that Comer's tendency is to go high cross court, so they step the block in about a foot and force Comer to hit wide. First hitting error for UCLA now, Heather. 12 kills, 1 error. Out of the back line, here comes Thatcher. And Penn State touched the net. You cannot touch the net during play. Sometimes they will let you get away with an inadvertent net if you back into it. But generally, they will call most nets. And there's Mark Pavlik, very calm, collected. He's one of those coaches that says, I do my work in practice. This is the reward. So he doesn't get too uptight, and that should make him pretty happy. Finally, the offense starting to click, and Eric Houston, I think, is a key. Number 10 for Penn State has got to be a factor. He's really been the difference for the Nittany Lions over the last 3 or 4 weeks. His arm has finally come alive. Had a very bad early season, hitting just 115. Has come out of it. Lots of talent. Over left side, Comer off the top. Penn State starting to get a little rhythm, and they net it again. Wow. And that's just the jitters to me, Chris. A little bit over anxious, swinging on the block with your forearms rather than just getting up and over with penetration. Here's what I say, Heather. Tuck in your shirts, because you never know when a shirt will hit the net. Penn State, 2, 3, 4 guys with their shirts out already. UCLA, all the guys with their shirts out. Big block there, Seth Burnham. Boy, the combination of Burnham and Thatcher put up a formidable block. Burnham is so quick, he reminds me a lot of Danny Farmer, both with his arm swing and his footwork and quickness to the outside blocker. UCLA, 11-3 now, make it 12-3. Bruins serving looks great, and Penn State calls its second timeout. Game 1 of national semifinal number 1. So far, it's been all UCLA. The Bruins 12, the Nittany Lions 3. Back at the Allen County Memorial Coliseum, 12-3 UCLA leading Penn State. And Penn State has had an interesting season, undefeated in conference play, but in non-conference play, Pavlik tried to get the top competition. They went 6-13, 2-12 against ranked opponents. They are also 0-3 against the field here today. They've played UCLA, Pepperdine, and Ohio State all season. No wins, and interestingly, they hit right around 200 in those matches. Their opponent hit almost 500, so important for Penn State to elevate the level of play. You just watched Zelko Koljesar with the kill. UCLA running it down, and that ball out of bounds. So the Bruins spaz out a little, trying to put that ball back over the net, and now Houston will serve it. And right now they've got to capitalize. Houston already with 2 aces. This is when the serve needs to get hot, need to take UCLA's offense a little out of rhythm. Right now the Bruins hitting 77%. Well, one thing interesting about UCLA, maybe we can look at it through their serve receive. If you see the blue guy there, don't serve the blue guy. That's a great point, because you know, they're wearing a different color jersey. You know that that is the best ball control player on the floor. Don't give him the ball. Exactly. There's a good pass by Aird. Koljesar, and he puts it away. Koljesar, number 12, an interesting story. He and his family emigrated from Yugoslavia and settled in Canada, now making his way down here, and he is a very talented player, one of the top freshmen in the country. Yeah, one of 2 freshman starters for Penn State, and those are the 2 big guns. Both of them have to ignite, get rid of those nerves. Ball dug up, Quignoni sets left. Here with the rejection, he'll hit it again from the 12-foot line, and he puts it away. Wow. Nice, Carlos Guerra. Guerra is so
He's
impressive.
exciting.
Doesn't play like a freshman. He's got so much international experience. Look at how long he waits. That set a good 10 feet off the net. UCLA's block went off the net thinking that was an easy down ball, but Guerra got a lot of heat on it.
12-5 now. Down the line, nice dig by Colchesar. Talafero back set, blocks, and down. So Penn State getting a tiny bit of momentum. The Nittany Lions close to 12-6. And this has been the pattern over the years, and Al Skates will take time out. UCLA gets a huge lead. And then Penn State fights back and tries to get it. Al Skates, the head man for UCLA. Earlier this week, he talked to a legendary basketball coach in Westwood. This is what was said.
I just spoke to John Wooden before we left, and he said, the victories are the sweetest when people don't expect you to be there. The other ones are just a lot of stress. And that's the way I feel about this season. People didn't expect us to be here. We were voted anywhere from 7th in the country to 4th. Our last poll, we were 4th, which means 3 teams in our league were ahead of us. So we were the 4th seed in our league playoffs, and we're not expected to be here. So should we win this event, it'll be very sweet.
And Chris, you can give all the credit in the world for them being here to Al Skates. 993 career wins, 17 NCAA titles, the 5-time National Coach of the Year, and he has been a wizard. He has done a masterful job playing chess and figuring out how his personnel can win matches.
Let's give a little credit to his assistants. His #1 man is Brian Rofer, and there's John Speraw, who interestingly was on the 1994 team that gagged away the big one here at Penn State. There's Rofer, a fine all-around player, but the bald guy, John Speraw, still has ugly memories
In fact,
of that 94 match.
I talked to him right before this match about that, and he said, I haven't brought it up once to the players. They don't need to know about that. They don't need to think about it. But he said, I certainly got fired up walking into this gym.
The darkest day in UCLA volleyball history as that ball is hit out of bounds. Was there a touch? No, Rigon said no, and Penn State starting to come on now. A 4-0 run to the Nittany Lions. Suddenly it's 12-7. Good serve there. There's Seth Williams, and Williams bangs it. Mark Williams, he was born in Australia, raised in Los Angeles, went to University High School. He's going to be on the Australian Olympic team as the libero. He's a very good defensive player and passer. And
how about the confidence of Talafero going right back to him after making the hitting error and getting him one-on-one and wide open. Williams certainly looking forward. It will actually go straight to Sydney from this event to start training again with the Australian national team.
Now you saw Burnham go to the bench. He's the middle blocker that's replaced by the libero, and that is Matt Davis. And a big hit there by Scott Morrow. Morrow is UCLA's top blocker. If they get some offense from him, they've got 3 kills so far.
What a great freshman year he's having. Again, playing with that broken right thumb. Instead of a cast today, has a soft tape job. Could be a little bit more painful than it's been in the past.
Back set, nobody up, and Guerra fires it home.
Hello. At this point in the season, you have to know who your hitters are. You should be talking as a blocker about all 3 hitters. Guerra, #9, is a hitter in this offense rotation, and Williams just got completely faked out.
12-7. As the Nittany Lions have a chance to get another point right now. Free ball, Quinones. Colchesar with the cross-court tapper. And UCLA having some problems now. The Bruins have given up 5 in a row, and Al Skates is up and concerned.
And UCLA has to play some defense. If its block isn't going to score points, the defense behind it has to ignite a transition game.
Over the net, could be another point coming. Whitescarver tees off. Remember, UCLA, these players weren't on the team, but in '94, the UCLA Bruins were up 2-1 and 11-4. Hey, it's a Heather Cox side. Look out. Heather Cox type numbers. Look out. And 11-4, and Penn State able to come all the way back. 6 in a row for the Nittany Lions. We're coming back. Game 1, semi-1, 12-9 now. we're back. Game one is turned into a very interesting one. 12-9 after UCLA led 12-3. The national championship is coming Saturday. We've got live volleyball for you. The winner of tonight's match will face the winner of the other semifinal, Ohio State and Pepperdine. Once again, live starting at 2 p.m. Eastern here on ESPN2, the national championship. That's going to be fun, Heather.
It's going to be a great one. Anybody's title. It'll be interesting to see if a Midwest team can finally come away with the title.
Penn State getting back into it with tough serving. That ball taking the net. If you're wondering, and if you've been seeing some international matches or beach tournaments with the let rule, there is no net or let rule in college volleyball
But
as of yet.
probably soon will be in the next year or two.
UCLA serving has gotten a little bit easier. Quinones back set. Koljasar off speed. Quinones front set. Koljasar whacks it. Zelko Koljasar. He's listed as a 6'5" freshman from Ontario, Canada.
And what Penn State is finally doing is better ball control, giving themselves opportunities to score in transition. They're playing off the soft blocks and getting 1, 2, 3 attacking opportunities. The first half of this game, it was one and done because UCLA's block was so strong.
White-Scarver with the service error. And Al Skates has seen enough. He's going to make a substitution. He's going to bring in Big Ed Ratledge, 6'8" senior from Fountain Valley, California. And Ratledge is going to serve.
And he's coming in right now as strictly a serving specialist, has one of the best jump serves on this squad.
An unusual one. He kind of unravels. Good pass. Quinones middle. Dug up. And UCLA touched the net. So let's see if they bring Ratledge right back out. They do. So Ratledge cannot play anymore in this particular game. He's replaced by Morrow. We'll see Ratledge sometime a little bit later at the opposite position, I have a feeling. And now Penn State will serve. Koljasar set to put the ball in play, and he rips an ace right in the middle of Davis and Williams. And suddenly it's 12-10. 7 in a row for the Lions.
UCLA's ball control has gone south. They're in a 3-person serve receive, but really there's just 2 people passing that ball.
Great pass there. Comer looking for high hands. No! Point! Lions. Wow, what a comeback this has been. 12-3. Penn State has reeled off 8 in a row now. Now the Lions can tie it up. Game 1, best 3 out of 5. Koljasar. Oh, and he just missed that one.
And that's a huge break for UCLA because suddenly there's no communication on UCLA's side, and Penn State is playing with tons of confidence, communicating and playing like they know how. An 8-0 scoring run thanks to tough serving.
Talaferro is a great server. Quinones, Penn State, Koljasar. And Koljasar is white hot, putting up Heather Cox type numbers.
I wish. My question is, why isn't there a Bruin block? Look at that. Koljasar has the entire net. Comer didn't even jump because he was so late to block. The opposite back row attack is one of the top weapons. You have to keep your eye on him.
Eric Houston already has 2 aces. Bombs one. Not getting quite enough airtime on that serve. Tossed it a little bit low. And UCLA will get the ball back. 12 serving 11. We're playing to 15.
Look for Comer to serve Houston.
Little float serve. That's an easy one. Into the middle and another put away. So UCLA not putting pressure on Penn State now. And the Lions able to side out nicely.
Right, if you're going to float serve, you have to do it strategically. Serve, don't serve the libero. Serve the worst passers. Go deep corners or seams.
Here comes Dan Hoekst, a junior from Madison, Wisconsin. Long spinner. Nice up. Left side. Williams over the top and down. Mark Williams. 5 kills for him.
Not only that, combined with 1 error, he's hitting 57%. And the Bruins still terminating from the outside. They haven't gone to the middle as much as I thought in the first game.
Seth Burnham with a floater. I don't like that float serve very much. Guerra and Rick Olmstead did not like that set, and Quinones is going to complain.
I mean, I'm front row.
Rick Olmstead, known as a very tight referee, he will call ball handling errors.
Well, that's a nice touch by Quinones,
Yep.
but yes, I agree that Olmstead is probably the tightest official on sets.
You know, tight maybe not the right word. He's the strictest official in interpretation. Internationally, if that was in the Olympics, that would have been sweet. But that man right there didn't like it. So we play on.
And once again, Koljassar with another kill. UCLA's outside left blockers have got to keep an eye on him.
Quinones with the serve. Good pass by Davis. Down the line, ball dug by Air. Houston, can he get some wood on it? Off speed. Davis right there. Left side. Oh, what a dig by Quinones. Penn State looking for a point. And double contact again. So Penn State called for 2 critical ball handling errors. One which resulted in a point, one which resulted in them not having an attempt to attack.
But what about the dig by Quinones? He did an amazing job getting that ball up. Here's the transition, keeping the ball in play.
13-11, Quinones, and off the hands. Nice shot there by Zeljko Koljassar. Koljassar leads his team with 7 kills. Score remains 13-11.
Which is interesting because Guerra has 5 kills, but Mark Pavlik's strategy was that Guerra should get 40% of the offense. I mean, that's really unheard of for one player to get that much of a team's offense, but I think Quinones has done a nice job going to both antennas.
Blocking specialist Zachary Slinker is in. He's a freshman from Glen Rock, PA. Guerra serving. Off speed pretty good. Into the middle, nice set, ball ducked. Chance for a Penn State point. Set left, Houston. And Houston rips it. Talaferro goes and gets it. Into the banners he goes. And UCLA gets it.
And once again, that's Brandon Talaferro doing everything he can to keep his team in it. Evan Thatcher, a great back row attack to keep the transition alive and get the side out.
You know what's amazing about that play, Heather? Talaferro backing up. Any other setter, that would have been a ball handling error, but it came out nectar, just perfect.
Right, it was way over his head, and he's still able to dish it up to Thatcher.
13-11, UCLA, the team in white with the lead. And Williams whacks it long. If you just joined us, UCLA jumped out 8-0. Penn State got a point. UCLA got another point to make it 9-1. Then up to 10-2 and 12-3 before Penn State started chipping away. Penn State got to 12-10 and 12-11. Where the Bruins got another point. Penn State digging well now. Koljassar whacks it. Joust coming maybe. And the tip. Dug up. On the run, Guerra. 13-11 is our score. Left side, Comer. Got it!
Tagged him. That ball was going way out of bounds.
Matt Comer with a hummer.
And Comer getting involved. 2 kills, 2 errors so far. Hasn't gotten on track. I think Talaferro needs to go to him. Establish that confidence on the outside.
Set to serve is Scott Morrow. Morrow with a low floater. And the ball tapped down. That's going to be a point. The pass was over the net and slapped down by UCLA's Seth Burnham.
So serving all of a sudden saving UCLA. That has been their greatest strength all year long.
First game point for UCLA. Serving is Morrow. Quinones back set. Koljassar is roofed. And that will do it. So Matt Comer, number 25, big hit, big block. UCLA survives game 1, but not without a bit of a scare. UCLA leading 12-3. Penn State coming all the way back to make it 12-11. So UCLA off to the good start in this best of 5. Bruins lead 1-0. We'll continue with our coverage of NCAA Semifinal number 1 right after this. Back in Indiana, the home of Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne, the host team this weekend. Chris Marlowe, Heather Cox, UCLA winning game 1, 15-11, and a key play in that game. A ball going over Brandon Talafero's head, and he was able to make the save.
Yeah, watch him hustle into the scorer's table and set up Evan Thatcher. That's a ball that any other setter would have thrown. Instead, Thatcher gets away with the kill, and Talafero, whether it's setting, running the offense, serving or digging, or even attacking, he's doing it all. And then finally, for game point, what a perfect time for Comer to start blocking Kojesar on the left side.
Statistically, the hitting battle was even. UCLA blocking a couple of more balls. Aces even, errors even. You know what doesn't show there, though, is the 2 ball handling errors that really cost Penn State.
Definitely, a couple of nets early, and also the blocking numbers are interesting. UCLA averages more than 4 blocks per game, Penn State more than 3, so neither team controlling the net like they'd like to.
National semifinal number 1. The teams have switched sides. Penn State in the dark uniforms, UCLA in white. Penn State will serve first, and Eric Houston will serve it up. You look at the percentages, UCLA hitting nearly 470, Penn State nearly 360. Not much defense and blocking in that first one.
Especially for UCLA, they need to play better defense. I think that's what ignited Penn State's run. They got some scrappy balls up, scored in transition.
Perfect pass there, and Evan Thatcher puts it away. Thatcher, a big guy, number 9.
Already leading the entire floor. 6 kills for Thatcher, 0 errors, hitting 67%, and Thatcher has come out fired up. He plays best in the big ones.
There's an ace for Brandon Talafero, his 3rd.
And this is the best point scoring rotation for UCLA. They've got a 3-hitter option, and Talafero is the best server, and watch him go seams right in between the libero and the right back player.
1 ace, 1 error, UCLA. Getting out to 1-0 lead. Keep in mind UCLA led 8-0 in game 1, so Penn State tried to get rolling a little quicker. Here's Dan Hoekst with the serve, and a shank pass. Wow, you don't see the libero, or the libero if you like.
And that's something that will frustrate Matt Davis. He's an outside hitter turned libero, and he knows his entire job on the floor is ball control. It's all about passing.
53 reception errors this year. That was number 54, and that's going to be number 55. So they're working on Davis. Maybe you should serve the guy in the blue shirt.
Do they know something we don't know?
Certainly serve him again now. He's made 2 errors in a row.
Davis just popping the ball a little bit too much. Needs to bend his elbows, cushion it to keep it on his side of the court.
Penn State has its first lead of the match. Burnham can't quite turn on it. Quinones, ball popped up. 2-1 Penn State. Kojesar cannot convert. A little worried about his takeoff that time.
Well, and I like the adjustment by UCLA, switching Thatcher again to the left side to stop the Kojesar attack, because when Thatcher's on the right side, that left side blocker for UCLA has not been able to contain Kojesar.
Matt Comer deep to serve a floater. Quinones with the gem. Now Quinones has a lot of kills this year, folks. That was kill number 178. He's a lefty, and the coach, Mark Pavlik, told me this week, I'd like to see Quinones do that all the time.
Well, in fact, he talked to him right before this match and said, I need you to attack some more as a lefty. That's just a natural move.
Yeah, he's got a whip. 2-1. We saw that Quinones was the most valuable player in the East Coast Conference, the Eastern Intercollegiate Volleyball Association. As UCLA gets the put away. Williams with 6 kills to lead UCLA. And a little jump floater. We're working on White Scarver. Left side, Kojesar down the line, Talafero. No looky dig. Whip it over to Thatcher. And Thatcher has his 7th kill, so he has passed former UCLA star Tom Stillwell, and he has moved into 6th place on the all-time hitting list. Heather, you know who the #1 hitter in the history of UCLA is in terms of total kills?
Fill me in.
Paul Niapoli.
And no stranger to UCLA volleyball. In fact, here tonight as a color analyst, working radio for UCLA, an incredible player. In fact, a couple national championships and All-American awards to his name.
1-2, lost 2. Tall Paul. Carlos Guerra with the serve. Talafero. Nice play by Steve Ayer, left side. Houston could get it by. Quinones back to Houston, and he rips one. Doug, nice play. Quinones on the set. Kojesar, tip. Nicely done. That pancake is good, and Olmstead says no.
Wow.
Olmstead says no. You did not have the spatula out there.
How about the hustle, though? Davis and Thatcher all over that ball, and UCLA's defense has certainly improved in this second game. I think Al Skates had something to say about the quickness in the backcourt. Watch number 9 Thatcher and Davis go after it, and that ball was not up.
To get the perfect pancake, you have to have the hand, which is the spatula, the ball, which is the flapjack. You got to have them all simultaneously. Thatcher serving over the net, and Talifero gets a warm-up ball. No palm at the net.
Talifero, any setter, loves the opportunity to attack and overpass. He is a great hitter, but doesn't get to very often because he's always touching that second ball. Great get-up, and Thatcher setting that all up with a tough short serve.
3-3 is our score. Guerra goes in and gets it over to Houston, and that's the ball that Houston has to put away. We were talking about UCLA's all-time hitter. There he is. Tall Paul Neapoli, broadcasting on the internet with broadcasting legend Lou Riggs right to his right.
Neapoli, what an amazing opposite. One of those guys that day in, day out was always consistent. In fact, Skates has said this year we need both Thatcher and Ratledge because I don't have somebody like a Paul Neapoli that can get it done day in and day out.
Neapoli part of that UCLA team that lost here in '94. Nice dig by UCLA. Early action in game 2. UCLA won the first game. Ooh, that's going to be a double contact. You know, they're using a new ball this year, and it's red, white, and blue, and you can really see when there's a mangle. You're not supposed to call spin, but when the ball starts twirling like that, you know something's gone wrong.
Yeah, certainly different than the all-white paneled ball. Harder to detect.
Out of the back line, Houston, the hitting error. So UCLA starting to get a little bit of momentum now. Bruins 5, Lions 3.
And it's been all about ball control. When Penn State's passing, they're able to attack, but when their passing goes south, nothing is going right for the Nittany Lions.
Penn State taking its first time out of game 2. We're coming back. We're going to continue with more coverage. UCLA leading the match 1-0. We'll have more NCAA volleyball for you right after these messages. Chris Marlowe and Heather Cox back at national semifinal #1 collegiate volleyball. UCLA winning game 1, 15-11. UCLA leading here in game 2, 5-3. The Bruins are the #1 seed in the tournament. Penn State #4. UCLA expected to advance, as Penn State wearing the dark uniforms and UCLA in white. Just the early moments of game 2. We had a 3-3 tie. UCLA has gotten a couple of points. Serve. Serving such an important part of any kind of volleyball these days, whether it be indoors or on the beach.
Especially for UCLA, they rely on scoring points. It's an offensive weapon for them. Penn State, on the other hand, serving is not as an important part of their game because they serve to get the ball in and aren't as effective with the aces.
Olgesar out of the back line, and there's a nice play. Brandon Talifero setting the pipe, and Williams coming through and knocking it down. Williams hitting over 500 so far.
Well, it's amazing when you look at Williams and Thatcher playing from one antenna to the other. They've got 14 kills combined. Just one error makes it tough for Penn State to block.
Out to Houston, ball blocked. We got Talifero on Houston. Pretty good matchup. 3-man block now, and the put away.
And that'll fire you up. If you're an outside hitter and you put the ball away up against 3,
that might
you're
be the
suddenly
best
feeling good.
hit of his career, considering the circumstances.
Great vision, keeps the ball in front of him so that he can see the Comer is brought over that third block, and let's see if it translates into a great jumper.
Houston with a couple of aces so far. Talifero inside. Ball dug. Talifero tees off, and he's stopped. Carlos Guerra jamming it down. Little Ivan the Terrible.
And all of a sudden, Penn State starting to feel the confidence and knowing that UCLA is a team that can be broken down. They have to wear and tear and continue to pound against them and just can't be bothered by that UCLA mystique.
UCLA has never lost an NCAA semifinal match. The Bruins are 21-0. Looking for 22. Houston serving. 5-4. And that ball just ticked the net.
You see Rick Olmstead has his hand actually on the cable of the net so that he can feel that vibration as the ball passes over, because that's hard to see with your eyes.
Talafero loaded with 3 aces so far. Good pass by Air. He's passing well low. Guerra! And that's what experience does for you. Guerra with a trap set. Nowhere to go except left hand, little tool shot, beautifully done.
Yeah, the best hitters are the ones that say there's no such thing as a bad set, but that's as close as you get. A trap set that's low and fading. Nice tool off the hands of Thatcher.
Oakes with a spinner, good pass. Set left, one-on-one, and the put away. Evan Thatcher. Thatcher, he racks up the kills. He's got 8 now.
Thatcher playing with a lot of confidence, coming off of a great week, had a season-high 26 kills last week in a win over BYU.
Out to Guerra. Oh, and Guerra is hot. Woo!
Wow.
That was smoking.
Now what Seth Burnham needs to do is close that gap. He can't be faked out by Quinones. Watch number 1, White. He stays there and read blocks. Because of that, he's late. And Guerra is all over that ball.
That ball is unblockable. Quinones serving. And a good one. Talafero on the run. And a lift call. So that's a good call. Rick Olmstead calling it.
Keeping it consistent.
Exactly.
I like that.
5-5. Talafero says, wait a second. I can do that when I'm on the USA national team.
As a back row player, that was his only option, the one-handed jump set. He can't attack that ball since he's in the back court.
5-5, game 2. Good game 2, as Penn State has started off much more quickly.
And Chris, I think that's something that's very important, is get the middles more involved. All of a sudden, Seth Burnham is getting involved. Now what they need to do is get the freshman, Scott Morrow, to be a little bit more of an offensive threat and block more effectively. That's what he's on the floor for.
Yeah, Morrow, number 14, is having some troubles reading Quinones, the setter.
I would too. Quinones is a very crafty, deceptive setter.
There's Morrow. He's a youngster, very talented, one of the best recruits in the country, but he hasn't seen this quick offense of Penn State much this year. Saw him in one match,
well,
but it's going fast.
Because Morrow is in the front row and Quinones is a front row setter, so that's another thing he has to think about.
Whitescarver gets the block. So Whitescarver blocks Morrow. And it's 6-5 Lions.
Talafero trying to get Morrow involved. As a freshman, this is the biggest match Scott has ever played in his life, so you need to get him in rhythm early.
Back set out of the back line, Thatcher, and Thatcher continues around the dial, the pound.
9 kills now for Thatcher, still without a hitting error. He's just been so consistent. He sees the ball in the block better than I think anybody on the floor, and because of that, he's doing whatever it takes, whether it's a wipe, whether it's a seam hit, or hitting right over the block.
6-5 Penn State, game 2. Out of the back line, Guerra is blocked, so Scott Morrow gets his first block of the evening.
And that will help the confidence. Watch him as he watches one player up on the setter, the other goes with the back row attack. Good heads-up play, calling out the hitters and their patterns.
No quick fake there. Left side, here comes Houston. Houston cross court, great dig, but one of the UCLA players stepped under.
Talafero that time going under the center line. You can cross it, but you can't put your foot all the way over it.
Once you dislodge the contact with the line, you're toast. Whitescarver, and he touched the net. So UCLA will get the ball back. UCLA's record this year, 27-5. The Bruins' losses to USC, Pepperdine, Northridge, Loyola, and Long Beach State. Great pass by Air. Houston on the combo. Hey, Quinones is setting a pretty good match, don't you think?
I love it. You know what he's doing well is getting in position in a hurry. Watching him in practice yesterday, he was a little lazy with his hands. Right here you can see how quickly he's got his hands. That makes it tougher for the block to read where it's going.
Cole Jassar serving. UCLA bad pass. Air goes and gets it. Perfect pass. Quinones one-on-one. And Houston, there is no problem. Houston, there is no problem.
So fun to see Eric Houston just unleash. Mark Pavlik said that he needed to be hitting right around 320. He's about 260 on the season, but he started so slow. Very slow start to the season. Now already 6 quick kills for the Nittany Lions.
Penn State goes up by a point, 7-6. Out of the back line, here comes Thatcher. Little tip, Quiñones trying to guide it over. He could not.
Nice idea, though. Quiñones wants to attack as much as possible. Thatcher having an amazing first 2 games, playing big when it matters.
If you think that's a lot, in one game this year, he had 19 kills. Not a match, one game. They set him right around the dial. Back line, Colgisar. Great dig in the backcourt by Williams. Quiñones sets quick. Bruins on the attack. Talifero back set. Thatcher, not yet. Ball dug. Colgisar set left. Houston again. He's dug. Comer on the run. Coming back over. Quiñones. Oh, that's trouble. And it's roofed. Boy, that was a low set. Speedy Gonzalez couldn't have got to that one on the left.
Nice transition D. This time Thatcher pops it up. Comer able to just keep the ball in play, and that's when the block can start to score points for UCLA.
7-7, great rally, and Quiñones slips it in to Dan Hoekst. Hoekst hitting .442 on the year, doesn't get the ball a lot. He's got 5 kills so far in the match.
And I think Hoekst needs to be more of a factor. I'd like to see Quiñones go to the middle to both Whitescarver and Hoekst more. Open up the outside.
Bad toss there. Easy play for UCLA. Quick set, and Seth Burnham. Now Burnham didn't play a lot last year because of injuries and because Adam Navy and Danny Farmer were the starting middle blockers. Really made the most of it in the fall. Won his job, and he has had a good year for UCLA. Seth Burnham. Guerra, ball popped up by Comer, overhand, that's okay. First contact, you can be as sloppy as you want. And the ball hit out of bounds. You like the overhand digging rule?
I do, I like it. Okay. You keep the rallies going, same rule as having the libero. I think those 2 rules really keep the rallies in men's volleyball, makes it more exciting.
Dan Hoekst to serve, game 2, 7-all. Into the middle, a rocket off the bat of Burnham. Say this is a must-win game for Penn State.
Oh, definitely. I think because they're such a young team, they have to establish that confidence. Mark Pavlik, I think, knows that as well, doing everything he can to keep this team up. 7-7, here comes Guerra, off speed. Talifero sliding, set left, and a rejection. Quiñones was there. Quiñones is tall for a setter. They list him at about 6'3", but he's got long arms and he's got huge hands. I shook hands with him tonight, and my hand just disappeared on the guy. Yeah, his hands are a lot like Carlos Ortiz, a former great setter. Just big, huge hands, and gets up and over to penetrate on that block. Big frying pans up there, and you get one, you get a block. So Jose Quiñones set to serve. He's a sophomore from Puerto Rico, part of the international invasion in college volleyball this year. Good serve. He's getting some heat on it. Back set. Here comes Thatcher. And Thatcher puts it away. So Thatcher doing his job. And Matt Davis is just passing nails. Penn State continues to attack the libero position. And in this game, he has passed flawlessly. We have a sub for UCLA. Scott Morrow is going to come in. There's Davis. Morrow is going to come in and replace Comer on the outside. Excuse me, it's Cameron Mount into the game. A lot of playing time this year. Mount's played in 61 games, averages about 3 kills a game. Certainly an offensive threat. Had a chance to watch him in practice yesterday. He can really bang the ball. Down the line goes Carlos Guerra. And Penn State will have it back. 7-7, game 2. UCLA won the first, 15-11. There is Cameron Mount. Comes Thatcher, and Thatcher hits it off the hands out of bounds. And again, tooling, and Thatcher is really that outlet play. When Talifero doesn't have any options, he can bump set or dish a set up to Thatcher. And so far, Thatcher has been able to put it away, whether it's tooling the block or just getting it in the court. Tied at 7. A change in Thatcher's game this year, going with the float serve. Last 2 years, used the jumper a lot more. I think that float serve is very ineffective, though. That was the easiest lollipop I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't like it either. He's serving short every time. So if you're Penn State, you can scout that. You know it's coming short, and that your middle blockers can just play that with their hands. That is the easiest play in volleyball to set your offense. Heather, you could pass that in your high heels. Come on.
There's a put away on the left side, Mark Williams. Once again, you'll see him in the Olympic Games. He'll be a player for the Australian national team. The Aussies improving very quickly. They put a lot of money into indoor volleyball and beach volleyball. Expect them to be good. They're automatically in because they are the host country. Quiñones tries to get it, and he cannot. The pass too high, and UCLA breaks the 8-7 or the 7-7 deadlock. And a timeout is called. Game 2, UCLA leading 1-0. Will return to Fort Wayne right after this. We're back. UCLA winning game 1 by 4. UCLA leading here in game 2 by 1. I want to remind you to get your tickets early for upcoming NCAA Volleyball Championships. The women's this December in Richmond, Virginia. For tickets, call 804-828-7267. For the men's next May in Long Beach, California. For tickets there, call 562-985-4949. Chris Marlowe and Heather Cox in the Allen County Memorial Coliseum. And there is Mark Williams, a designated member of the Australian Olympic volleyball team.
But the interesting part is Mark was born in Sydney but moved to the States when he was 9. And I talked to him about it, and he said he feels more American than he does Australian. And in fact, the Australian national team really hassles him a lot. Instead of saying things like good day, he'll say what's up, and they give him a lot of flack for that.
Over the top, Houston's blocked. Houston in front of our cameraman tries a radical cross-court angle and hits it into the net. If there's a flaw in Houston's game, he hits 262. He just makes too many errors. He can make the most. He can hit it as well as anybody in the country, but he just makes too many errors offensively to be considered a great hitter all around.
He's still working on that consistency, and I think that's mostly mental for Houston. Mark Pavlik and I talked about it quite a bit yesterday, and he's gotten that mental part of his game down the last few weeks, and it's made a difference in his physical game.
Here's Kolchasar with the serve. Pretty good one there. Talaferro goes, gets it. Mount first serve, he's blocked. First set, I should say. Mount will take another swing, off speed. Good choice, Quiñones. Here comes Kolchasar, and he sticks it through. I tell you, Quiñones and Kolchasar have great rhythm. Quiñones sets it perfect. Kolchasar gets a great broad jump.
Which is interesting because this is just the first year that they've played together. In fact, Kolchasar hasn't played a lot this season, missed the first 3 matches before the EIVA semis with a sore back, and it's interesting that they've got that chemistry established already.
Yeah, I think Mark Pavlik told us he only arrived in January, so he did not get that fall work. So UCLA will have it. Serving is Scott Morrow. Little floater. Aired, good pass into the middle. Oakes poked up, nicely done. Mount on the pivot, no. Into the corner, and it's a loopy going out of bounds. 9-8. UCLA leads here in game 2. Been close all the way.
What UCLA needs to do is side out immediately when Houston starts to serve. They can't let him rattle off a string of points.
Houston, good serve. Nice pass into the middle. Burnham with the blast.
And that's huge, Chris, because UCLA known as a great point-scoring team, but maybe not as good of a side-out team because they don't have that ball control, whereas they do have the block to score points. This time they get the perfect pass up, and Seth Burnham having a great night so far.
That's an ace. Aired. Kind of poached one from Guerra.
And you know, Chris, I can't remember one rotation that Brent Talaferro has gone back and hasn't gotten at least 1 ace out of his rotation, already 4 so far. And that's a huge key for Penn State to get him out of rotation quickly.
Good push. Burnham shoves Quiñones and then glares at him. Watch the glare from Burnham after he shoves him on his behind.
Well, you know, Burnham's making up for lost time. This is the first time in his career that he's gotten some good PT, and He's been injured. He's been playing behind some great players, and I think Seth Burnham is really making up for that missed opportunities.
Playing great so far tonight. UCLA extends its lead to 3, and Mark Pavlik calls timeout. Mark Pavlik in his 6th year. This year, the Nittany Lions started kind of slow. We asked Mark about getting his team to rebound from that early season struggle.
We got beat up early in the season, and I think that was good for us. I think it's paying off now. I don't get a sense that we're coming in kind of cowering, saying, oh, please don't hurt us. But I think we have a confidence about our game right now that if we play well, I think we're going to force the Bruins to have to play well too. And in competition, if you can force your opponent to play better than you, that's all you can ask for.
And right now, Penn State playing its best ball of the season. They're on a 12-match win streak. All that after they started at 10-13 earlier this year. Since then, they're now 20-13, have won 12 straight, and I think Mark has done a nice job working with his young players. Guerra, as we mentioned, a freshman, did not come to State College until January 1st. Koljesar, also a freshman, so it takes time to get in the rhythm, especially with a young setter. Quinones just a sophomore.
Penn State ending up with a record of 20-13, won the Eastern Tournament, defeating Harvard, New Jersey Tech, and Concordia. Some interesting new teams on the volleyball scene. And Talafero, good timeout by Pavlik.
Pavlik said he wouldn't hesitate to call one, especially in rotation 1 when Talafero serving. You certainly want to ice the hot server.
11-8, UCLA ahead. And Mount thunders one through. His brother was a star player at Santa Barbara. I had a chance to talk to Ken Preston, the coach. He said, well, we recruited Jason, but he just decided to go to UCLA. He's got a lot of pop.
Well, he's a freshman, but he doesn't play with like one. He's very mature. He's returned after a 2-year Mormon mission, so a lot older than most freshmen.
And that ball drops. Thatcher was there, Burnham was there, and now it is 12-8.
And Chris, you talked about Cameron, his older brother Jason playing at Santa Barbara. Well, also his sisters, Colleen and Allison, both great volleyball players, one at Utah, one at Utah State. And his younger brother, Alan, actually just signed with UCLA in November, so the two Mounts will be together next season.
So Penn State in trouble now, trailing 1-0 and 12-8. Boy, they are serving hard now. Koljesar just barely got that one out, and Guerra hits it out of bounds. So UCLA, after a 7-7 tie, the Bruins going on a 6-1 scoring run, and the Nittany Lions struggling to side out.
Well, and it helps because of the serve. In fact, yesterday Al Skates told me if we serve, it's not going to be a ball game. If we don't serve, this becomes a match, and UCLA has certainly started serving better. Talafaro is doing it all. Williams, their second best server, needs to start lighting it up.
Going to be another point as Mount pounding the jumper. That's one thing about Al Skates that always concerns other coaches and other fans, that he always seems to know the right time to put in a substitute.
Well, in fact, this is the only team that uses their bench. The 3 other teams in this national championship don't go to the bench like Skates does.
First game point for UCLA. 14-8. Out of the back line, Koljesar, and that will do it. So the UCLA Bruins aided by a key substitution at 8-7. As Al Skates removes Matt Comer and puts in Cameron Mount, and the Bruins run it out and win it 15-8. UCLA leading national semifinal 2-0. We're going to continue. We'll have more coverage for you. Stay with us. We're coming back to Fort Wayne, Indiana after this short timeout. back in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Chris Marlowe with Heather Cox. We played 2 games in the national semifinal #1, the NCAA Men's Volleyball Championship. UCLA winning 15-11 and 15-8. Penn State wearing the blue jerseys, UCLA in white. Game 1 was a whitewash for UCLA most of the time. The Bruins led 12-3, ended up winning 15-11. Marlowe and Cox on site for you. Kill factor, just about even, 36 all. UCLA upping its total, getting 4 blocks. Bruins serving a little bit better. And the Penn State hitting errors, perhaps the key stat in the first 2 games. Penn State now up to 17. UCLA with just 9, which is very, very good. So Cameron Mount, a key substitute in game 2, is going to stay in. So UCLA will have Burnham, Mount, Thatcher, Williams, Morrow, and Talaferro. Talaferro is such a key factor for UCLA. Besides setting all the balls, hitting, blocking, digging. UCLA will start with its libero in the blue shirt, Matt Davis, right in the middle of the court. Talaferro starts serving.
And that's a huge plus for Penn State that they can break Talaferro's serve on the first serve. Already 4 aces for Brandon.
Penn State with Houston, Colgesar, Quiñones, Hoaxed. And their libero, number 16, that is Steve Aird. Back set, here comes Mount. And that ball out of bounds, hitting air.
Boy, what a tough role for Cameron Mount to come in. He is a freshman into the biggest match of his life after starting on the bench. I mean, I don't think there's more pressure than that. Did a very admirable job in the end of game 2.
Good pass, Talaferro, rocket by Seth Burnham.
Seth has been a force in the middle for UCLA. Already 6 kills, just 1 error. The key now is, can they get Scott Morrow, the freshman, involved? Already Burnham going up against 2 blockers every time and able to go right through it.
It's the best 3 out of 5 game match. Penn State trailing 2 games to none. On transition, Talaferro. One thing I like about Talaferro, he's so calm and collected. You know, he can get into it.
He brings the fire when he needs to.
But he's got that demeanor of confidence, of swagger.
Well,
he knows he's good, and he knows he can really lead this team.
He's just got such a commanding presence out there on the floor. I mean, you can see it in his eyes.
Left side, and that ball is blocked. Thatcher was there, aided by Burnham.
Great job by Thatcher that time, sealing the antenna. Once again, a little bit of a trap set. It was dying on the vine, falling inside, and Thatcher just sealed that antenna not to be tooled.
Mount to serve. Little floater lollipop. Quiñones sets left. Guerra, and suddenly Guerra has gone cold. And if he goes cold, Penn State can write it off because he is their main left side crank.
Well, Guerra leads this team with 520 kills coming into the night, averages almost 5 kills a game, and he has been the hot guy late, leading him 3 of the last 4.
He's under 270 now after hitting 400 early, so he's not playing quite as well. A lot of it is due to some bad passing.
Exactly. They have so many times Quiñones has been pulled back to at least the 10-foot line. Makes it tough for him to be deceptive so he doesn't get his hitters one-on-one.
Here's Williams, blocked. Williams will set. Very nice. Out of the back line, Mount tears it up.
And that's one thing I've really noticed about UCLA this week is in the off plays, in the chaos, there's just so much more comfort. The communication is there. This time they're fighting over who's going to set, but UCLA's still able to convert and put the ball away.
This Cameron Mount is going to be a player. He is aggressive, he is big, he can whack it. That ball out of bounds, let's see. And they'll give it to Penn State.
And Thatcher showing he actually is human. His first hitting errors with 12 kills in the night. Amazing to go through 3 games and not have 1 hitting error.
Here comes Quiñones serving. And he loops it long. 3-1 UCLA. If the Bruins win this particular game, they will be in the national final for the 22nd time under the legend Al Skates.
And amazingly, in those title matches, 17-4. I mean, that is an impressive record.
Over the top, and Williams. In case you're wondering about Penn State, only 1 team in collegiate volleyball history has ever come back from a 2-0 deficit to win a semifinal. That was the 1972 San Diego State team.
And who was on that team, Mr. Marlowe?
And some gutty guys.
A very gutsy Marlowe setting.
Men were men, baby. We're coming back. Timeout. Penn State in deep, deep trouble, trailing 2-0 and 4-1. UCLA winning the first two games, 15-11, 15-8. Bruins ahead here in game 3, 4-1. But look what UCLA's done under Al Skates. 22 appearances, 17 titles, and as he had told us, he's finished second 4 times, and 2 of those, or at least 2 of them, he thought he should have won.
And I love it. I asked him, with 17 championship rings, a lot of us would just like one. I asked him which ones he wears, and believe it or not, with 17, he doesn't wear any of them. He said, I don't have any on this trip. I wear the 98 ring when I fly. It's a little bit bigger for when my fingers swell. Yeah, but I wear the 87 ring a lot because it just feels good. Boy, what a nice luxury to have, having to decide which ones to wear.
No rings on right now for Al Skates, but his team
ready
is
for a freshie.
That's right.
Right now, UCLA has to capitalize. Mark Williams, one of the toughest servers on the squad, just hasn't gotten his serve going yet. 5 service errors, no aces so far tonight. There we go. I jinxed him in a good way. Mark Williams picking up his first ace of the night, and that spells trouble for Penn State because they haven't been able to contain Talifero, but so far they haven't had trouble with Williams. Now Penn State has to pass both of them.
That is a tough jump serve. Wow, he just elongates, and he hits it so low, there was almost no spin on that one.
Yeah, the trajectory is only about an inch over the top of the tape.
Look at the serving story. UCLA with a great ratio. Penn State's ratio not so bad either, but the Bruins really putting a lot of pressure on now.
And everybody knew for the Bruins to win easily, it would be behind the serving game.
Another strong serve. Quignone sets left, and Houston puts it away. Keep in mind, this is a very, very young Penn State team. Only one senior in the starting lineup. That's middle blocker Adam Whitescarver. So Penn State should be loaded in the future. They'll have to replace Whitescarver, but if they can get another athletic middle blocker, maybe another foreign player.
Well, they've got a great guy in Zachary Slankard. I think they will be a team to contend with next year.
Piera rejected. It might have been Mount. He's got the biggest smile on his face. Mount was up high.
All you have to do is celebrate. If it's a close call and nobody knows who's blocking it, all you do is smile and celebrate. Suddenly you have the block in the stat column. But yes, it was Mounts coming in and doing a fabulous job.
That's one thing that Al Skates teaches you when your hands are up on the block. If someone tries to tip over, you don't bring your hands down. You keep them up as you come down. You keep your hands in the air. And that was exactly what Mount was able to do. So UCLA pouring it on now. Penn State may have run out of gas.
Penn State going with a 2-person serve receive against a float.
Off speed, dug up. Left side, Mount tipping over the top. So once again, it is Cameron Mount. Interestingly, he sparked the Bruins against Loyola in the quarterfinal in the MPSF. UCLA struggling. He came in, had 7 kills and no errors. Freshman from Santa Barbara doing it all. We're going to come back. UCLA is in command, 2-0. UCLA leading Penn State 2 games to none. The Bruins have a whopping 8-1 lead here in Game 3. Coming up next here on ESPN2, it's the NBA tonight. Get caught up on all the latest playoff action, including a full review of Game 5. The Bucks and the Pacers play tonight here in Indiana. Who do you like in that one, Bucks or Pacers?
I'm going with the Pacers. We're in Indiana, aren't we?
Right.
Got to keep the home fans happy.
Mr. Yellow Headband, Cameron Mount, has come in and played well. Brandon Taliaferro has run the attack. Evan Thatcher has provided some punch. And UCLA in command, rolling towards its 22nd national semifinal win. In case you're wondering, when did UCLA ever lose a final? Well, they lost in 1978 to Pepperdine in 5. I saw that one. 1980 to USC, missed that one. That was the Hovland, Timmons, Dvorak squad, defeating Karch's group. And then in 1997, a thriller to Stanford.
That was one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Mike Lambert just took over.
And then the 1994 match, which we have documented the darkest day in UCLA volleyball history. Steve Aird has played pretty well, trying to hang in there under the onslaught of UCLA serving. 8-1 is our score. Taliaferro has been the ringleader as a server. Interestingly, you know, Heather, he is the 3rd setter on the USA national team. At this moment, he's on the 18-man roster. Loy Ball, the #1 setter. Chip McCaw is the #2 setter. But if anything should happen to Ball or McCaw, Brandon Taliaferro would have a chance to make the 2000 Olympic team.
And that's no surprise. I think people recognized when Brandon was a freshman that he was something special, and they've been putting him in that slot for the last 4 years. The key for Taliaferro is, can he stay healthy? Can that back stay out of trouble?
Houston doing a nice job of serving. Gets a couple of aces. You never know when a Penn State rally can ignite. And Al Skates and his coaching staff always very aware of when to call a timeout. They do it very, very quickly.
And right now, Al Skates trying to ice the server. Houston now with 4 aces. Al Skates wants to set up an offensive pattern and get out of this serve receive.
So Al Skates talking over with his gang. We have mentioned that 1994 championship a lot. After that match, UCLA players were rededicated, Heather, and they came back the next year. Jeff Nygaard, Eric Sullivan, Kevin Wong, some 2000 Olympic candidates, and the Bruins were on a mission, and they just pounded the Nittany Lions and getting some revenge. They beat them 3-0 here in Springfield, Massachusetts, to avenge the 1994. But even that didn't avenge the 1994 because they all still
It'll never
talk
be
about
avenged.
it.
She still says that was probably the darkest day, just because they were favored. They were up 11-4 in Game 4, and somehow it slipped away.
There is Paul Neapoli. He won 2, but he was also on the losing side in 94 and 97.
Pretty nice, though, to be able to play in all 4.
He was a great hitter. In fact, the top kill man in UCLA history, and that has included some great spikers over the years. Now we're talking about an all-time UCLA team earlier in the week, and I think probably you have to put Paul Neapoli on there.
I think he deserves to be on. And some interesting things that Al Skates told us in that conversation is, one, Karch Cry, this is easy, was the best player he's ever coached. But surprisingly, all the great setters that have gone through that program, Mike Seeley, according to Al Skates, the best setter to ever set for the Bruins, especially in 1993.
Well, Seth Burnham is not going to be a setter in the near future. That one
He's
came
got
out
the red light on setting.
Rick Holmes said didn't like that one.
Middle blockers aren't supposed to use their hands, are they?
8-3 is our score. Into the middle, Burnham. That's what he's in there to do.
And that's a great play. Completely trapped. The only choice he had was to try and go high hands and tool. Seth Burnham coming out having a great match. 8 kills so far. Again, his first playing experience of his career.
Slinker came in for a moment to serve the ball. I'd like to actually see him, but Penn State can't play him when they're still in rallying distance. 8-3, still a chance to catch up if Penn State can turn it on. They need their big guys to get going. They need Koljasar and Guerra.
And a little bit more heat on the serve. Don't just give him an easy topspin. I think an easy jump serve is much easier to pass. than an easy floater. Go for the heat if you're going to jump.
Big hit. That is Scott Morrow. UCLA's got a lot of youngsters on their squad. Of course, Rose will lose Talafero next year. Talafero also a very good beach player, so in addition to his bat, the USA coach is not sure whether he's going to play indoors or on the beach.
A lot like Misty May, a great women's indoor player that decided to move on to the beach.
Nice set there. Williams with the drive. Did he get a touch? You know, it looked like he got a micro touch and nobody saw it. So Penn State will get the ball back. Williams giving a little stink eye to our second referee, Bill Stevens, to no avail. Here comes Guerra. Left side, Williams. Block, nicely done. Colgesar is there. Williams again. Dug up. Quinones out of the back line. Guerra. And he puts it away. Guerra into the corner. Nice shot.
Heads up move by the freshman, one of the toughest plays in volleyball, coming over your shoulder, pulled off the net to keep that ball in play. When in doubt, you have to play that ball if you're UCLA.
Penn State with 3 in a row. Maybe Guerra getting his confidence back. Talafero out of the back line. And Penn State can't dig that one.
That's what I love about Talafero's game right now. So vocal, getting his team fired up. I mean, you can see the intensity. He wants to finish this and not let Penn State back into the game.
Mount has 6 kills since he replaced Matt Comer. In the midst of game 2, Williams served just long.
And Williams with his 6th service error, very uncharacteristic. Williams actually leads the team in service aces, a couple more than Talafero.
So Penn State trailing by 4. Out of the back line, and the ball is blocked out of bounds. So UCLA will get it back.
And you notice that Talafero is going to the hot hitters. When Mounts came in, he established him early as a youngster to give him the confidence. He's gone a little bit away from Thatcher and trying to mix it up.
UCLA has a tendency to get stuck on numbers. They have shown that all year. Sometimes able to break away. And Zachary Slinker.
Back into the lineup in middle blocker position. He's gotten so much strength. He actually put on about 40 pounds over the last 18 months to bulk up. It's really helped his game.
Colgesar serving, just missed it. Let's see if they keep Slinker in now. I think they're going to. So Slinker has replaced either Whitescarver or Hoax. He's going to replace Hoax. Whitescarver's out too because of the libero.
And that's a good move. Unfortunately for Hoax, he just hasn't had the game that he's wanted so far tonight.
UCLA on the attack. Thatcher on 2.
And that's the advantage of having a lefty at the opposite position. Whenever the setter digs the ball, that opposite is supposed to set the second ball. Instead, as a lefty, if you're tight to the net, that's a great up by Brandon, you can actually attack. 13 now for Thatcher.
Great up by Air. Quinones, Colgesar, stuck back by Mount. Hey, Mount's got a little ham bone in him, doesn't he? He's excitable. So Mount gets the roof.
Mount's mixing it up this side on the
Really
left
nice.
Next to Burnham, and the two of them form a great block. Good timing, hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder.
10-4 now. As UCLA just 5 points away from a semifinal win.
Mount's known as the more potent offensive threat than Comer, and I love the move by Skates bringing him in. Comer wasn't providing any offensive punch, and Mount's has.
Out of the back line, Guerra with the drive. And now Penn State will have it. Of course, Penn State's women's team winning the national championship in this same kind of volleyball calendar year. And of course, Russ Rose with a fantastic season, and what an ending.
So deserving of that.
Upsetting
Lauren
Stanford.
Kachimani, Bonnie Bremner, some great players for Russ Rose.
Back set. And Mount off his head. That's okay. They poke it back over, and it's going out of bounds.
You know, you talk about the teams that have won men's and women's in the same year. Only 2 teams, Stanford and UCLA, the 2 teams that the men and women have won in the same scholastic year. Penn State's certainly trying to become the third. Right now, it's going to take a heck of a lot of tough serving and ball control to get back into this
Heather,
game.
they call it a yeoman effort.
A yeoman effort.
A yeoman, like a Guerra. They Need their guys to get hot.
And they've got to keep their serve in. 2 consecutive serves out in a row. Say a cardinal sin in volleyball is if the player in front of you missed their serve, you have to get that ball in.
Serving is Mount. He's got some pop on it. Watch him. Pass again by Air. Coming around the horn is Guerra.
And that's a great combo play. Guerra in the middle of the left side of the court. Quinones are running him behind and really catching UCLA's blockers off guard. You kind of wonder if it's a little too late. Guerra faking inside and coming around the horn, right side attack, and that is tough to defend. A lot of action going on the Penn State offense.
Really need to have a good pass to run that play, as that serve is out of bounds by Slinker.
Penn State is a team that likes to run a very fast offense, more sophisticated than most men's teams, but without that ball control of the passing, Quinones has had to go high outside most of the night.
White-Scarver back in, and the ball dug out of bounds. So Adam White-Scarver. Quinones with the serve. And we've got a touch call. Touch call on Penn State, so UCLA will have it. If you're wondering why the guy in the blue shirt never serves, part of the libero rule, the libero cannot serve and he cannot set the ball. As you look at Davis, he cannot set the ball in front of the 3-meter line, so you cannot use him for deception. He's supposed to be in there primarily as a defender, but as it's worked out, he's been much more. He's really added to the offense because he gets in there and passes the ball.
Right, it's an extra perk to have somebody like Davis, who I think is one of the top 2 or 3 liberos in the country, to be a primary passer. You see he's in the middle of the court, a lot like Eric Sullivan was for UCLA years ago. Passes about half the court.
Thatcher gives UCLA a side out. 14 kills for big Evan Thatcher. He's played well enough to keep his backup, Ed Ratledge, on the bench. So the Bruins up by 5 in game 3 after winning the first 2. Out of the back line, here comes Guerra. One thing you notice in volleyball, all the subs stand up the entire game. I used to hate that because you'd be exhausted. There
I like
is
that you stay
Ratledge, number 24.
Actually, a transfer from Long Beach State. He, like Evan Thatcher, has the potential to go off at any given time, so Skates likes the luxury of having either one of them.
That serve out of bounds, and Penn State just unable to mount much of an attack against UCLA.
I think they realize that to come back, they need a potent serve, and so they're taking the risk of the errors, but they're getting way too many errors to score points.
Quinones back set, nobody there. Koljassar on the line.
Marvin Hall with the call right down the line. Koljassar without any blockers up, has to keep that ball in.
There is dancing Marvin Hall.
A fixture in the volleyball scene.
Of beach volleyball fame.
10 minutes to start.
They're never going to call dancing Marvin Hall Starving Marvin, will they?
Ouch.
Marvin is good. He's a terrific referee.
He's the best.
Yeah. 10-5. Bounce up high, and he pounds another one down. Give me his numbers, Michael. 7 kills, according to our ace stat man, Michael Sondheimer. Couple of blocks.
And a great athlete, takes a huge approach, gets a full swing, drops his left shoulder so he can crank it cross court, sees just one blocker up, and Mounts has been the difference in these second and third games.
Did you ever wear a headband, Heather, in your playing career?
I have to say I didn't.
You did?
I wasn't part of that 70s era. These are sort of the retro look.
Well, you know, hair is definitely coming back. In the 80s, everybody had very short hair, but you look at some of the UCLA guys, they got the moppy look. Talafero's got the do going. Thatcher's got a big one. You look on the bench, Ratledge, do the do. And Houston serving. Nice serve. Free ball, Penn State. Chance for a point. Guerra thought he got it. Did he get him? No. The set was a little bit tight. And of course, there's always the exception that proves the rule. Seth Burnham getting an early start on middle age. Mount serving. That ball served out of bounds. So Penn State gets it back. UCLA would like to close it out here.
And Zachary Slinker staying in the ball game. The freshman redshirt, the heir apparent to White-Scarver's position, getting some valuable PT.
See if he can get a serve in. He's throwing the ball low, and now he's got to go out.
Things have gotten a little flat here. Both teams missing a lot of serves, not as much punch.
And Al Skates is going to bring in his designated server, Ed Ratledge. Let's check Ratledge's ace to error ratio. He's got 13 aces this year to 62 errors. How do you like that?
Well, I don't think Al Skates would like that. I think about 1 to 3 is about what you're going for in point scoring versus errors.
Ratledge hoping to get it in so he can play a little. X-play and out of the reach of Mount. So Ratledge says, bummer, I got to go back out now. Burnham comes back in.
Penn State doing a nice job keeping UCLA on 10. UCLA in a little bit of a funk, hasn't got the offensive punch that they need right now. Need to get some ball control, run a few combos.
They're wiping the floor. I'm going to give you one all-time UCLA team just quickly. Nia Pauley, Karch Karai, Ricky Ludes, Doug Partee, Jeff Nygaard, and Steve Sammons.
So you don't put St. John Smith on there?
I personally don't.
All right.
I thought he was an outstanding college player, but not as good as those guys. Ball dug up. Mount, back to Talafero, and Talafero sets the quick, and they put it away.
And I love it too, because you can hear all 3 hitters yelling Brandon's name. That is a team that's hungry and wants the ball. As a player, my setter could always hear me yelling there, and you know if somebody's calling for that ball, you give it to him. And Morrow that time got the award, but all 3 of them really calling for that ball.
Thatcher, scoop it back to Thatcher. He's left-handed, he deals it. A little off speed. Thatcher with a spear job. Here comes Williams on the run, and he puts it away. What a shot by Mark Williams.
And finally, UCLA able to get off of 10, move it up to 11, just 4 points away. And Williams doing everything he can, tooling the block.
And a timeout is taken. So the Bruins get off the dreaded 10. And we're going to take a short break. We're coming back. UCLA doing everything it needs to move along. They're up 11-5 here in Game 3. Fort Wayne, Indiana at the Allen County Memorial Coliseum, national semifinal number 1. UCLA leading 2 games to none. I want to remind you that the men are coming up next May. Upcoming NCAA venues in Long Beach, California. The women, we have sites selected for the next 4 years. In 2001, San Diego. Of course, that's after this December in Richmond. Then New Orleans, Dallas, and back to Long Beach, California. So some great sites. I love that one in 2001 in San Diego, California. That'll be a whole match for me. Oh, that'll be sweet in the Cox Arena, the nicest facility on the West Coast now.
No relation, of course.
No.
Unfortunately.
Of course not. You wish you were. You'd have some bucks, baby. All right, UCLA trying to close it out, leading 11-5. Penn State trying to hang in. Penn State undermanned. But just unable. They gave it a fight. They were down 12-3 in game 1 after a horrible start. Came back to 12-11. Had a ball handling error and lost it 15-11.
And just a frustrating night for Penn State. This is a team that's hit 350 on the year, but against ranked teams, they hit about 100 points lower, and that's no exception tonight. Hitting right around 230, and I think they knew coming in they had to hit over 300 to have any chance at winning.
Jason Hawkins has come in, replacing Eric Houston in the back line. Hawkins, a sophomore from Florida, and the put away for Ratledge. So big Ed Ratledge. Now, excuse me. I knew I was going to get those two confused. Evan Thatcher getting set to serve. Thatcher, the starter, Ratledge, the backup. 2 heads and 2 names. And the put away there by Cole Gisaro.
Thatcher's gone away from the short serve, instead serving deep cross court, but still Penn State side outing with ease against the Thatcher float serve.
Penn State's hitting percentage dropping each game. After hitting .359, the percentage is going right down the drain into the middle. Williams is blocked. Nicely done by Adam Whitescarver.
Penn State did a great job reading that time. Talifero brought all his attackers into the middle of the court. That allowed Penn State to read it. And watch, there's 3 blue jerseys in the middle of the court. Great read on Williams coming into the center.
Whitescarver, Penn State's all-time leading blocker in block assists. Surpassed the total of Ivan Contreras.
Morrow getting more involved as the match progresses. I think as he's gotten more comfortable in this setting, in this atmosphere now with 7 kills. And that's just huge because that will certainly help his confidence come Saturday playing in the national championship match.
13-6 Penn State. Koljasar, and he does the limbo and gets the kill. Zelko Koljasar, once again just a freshman, as is Carlos Guerra. Quiñones, a sophomore. Got a bunch of juniors. This is a team that's going to be much, much better next year.
Yeah, look for them in the pyramid in Long Beach next year for the national championship. This is a team over the next 2 years that is going to have to be reckoned with.
Serve is out of bounds. And UCLA will serve. Scott Morrow, number 14, to put the ball in play. Bruins 2 points away from victory. Into the middle, Guerra, it's up. Nice set. Mount with the drive. Cameron Mount whacking hard on the left.
Mount is a player who hasn't gotten as much playing time as he probably deserves just because he's got so many great outside hitters in front of him, but already 8 double-digit kill matches on the season. Mount coming in has 8 kills now.
Match point for UCLA. Back set, Koljasar. This could be it to move on in the semifinal. Mount! No, he can't do it. Headband weighting him down on that swing.
You're all about style, Marla.
I like that, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, that's tough. Swinging for match point. You just got to get that ball.
You know, you want to put that away because you know you'll be on
good.
ESPN highlights if you do. Not going to be in there hitting it into the net. Slam dink. Talifero using that very judiciously tonight. I think that's maybe 1 or 2 he's had.
And watch out, toughest serving rotation. Talifero already with 5 aces trying to finish it off.
Second match point, Talifero. Quiñones, did he get it? Let's see. And they give the ball to Penn State. So the Penn State Nittany Lions down to their final point. Jason Hawkins set to serve. Let's see what he can do. Little jump floater. You know, with the overhand serve receive, the jump floater, I don't think is effective at all.
I don't either. The reason that they do the jump float is to creep up on you, but if you can take it with your hands, it's not an issue.
Third match point. Cameron Mount to initiate. And that should do it. Free ball, UCLA. Talifero back set. No, he hit it out. Evan Thatcher had a chance there, so UCLA's had a couple of swings. One by Mount, one by Thatcher. And it's 14-6. Penn State will serve. And here is Zachary Slinker, 88 kills on the year. Hit .528 in limited action. Pretty darn good. And Burnham hits it out.
And you can tell Talifero is getting a little peeved.
Yeah.
Very frustrated at his hitters. He's delivering some very hittable balls, and Talifero just wants to get out of here.
UCLA's fallen asleep here. I can tell you, they need some no-dos. Al Skate's a little bit concerned. He's got a big lead, but you just never know. Don't you think?
And that's what I love about volleyball. It is never too late with side-out scoring to come back, and I think Al Skates is well aware of that, even though they're in a very comfortable spot.
Fourth match point for UCLA. Quiñones, Koljasar, Doug cannot go off the playing surface, and Penn State will have it back. Talifero shaking his head. How hard is it to get 1 point and get to 15?
Well, it's pretty tough. All those drills that you do as a player in practice, like X drills, the focus is to get 2 good plays in a row because that's really what it takes to score 1 point. You got to get the side out and then a point scoring opportunity.
Jose Quinones, third on Penn State's all-time assist list, service error. He's behind Dan Pollock and Carlos Ortiz. By the time he finishes his career, he will be the all-time assist man by far because he has had 2 big years to open it up. UCLA with its 5th match point, 14-7. Quinones X-play, Guerra. You know what's happened? UCLA's gotten the big lead, and now they're just like lollipopping it over, and they're walking around a little bit slowly. They don't have the drive.
A little complacent on the other side. Penn State, when they're getting that ball control, are running those combo option X plays, and they've been very successful.
Guerra trying to hit the line, no. So UCLA will have it back.
And service errors have been huge for Penn State in this 3rd game.
6th chance, Mark Williams, 2nd best server on UCLA squad, warming it up. Perfect pass, Quinones sets left, down the line, ball dug off the bat of Hawkins, and first referee, Rick Olmstead, didn't like it. You know, Rick has got that look. Rick has got that look. Every time he makes one of those calls, he's just like daring him. He stares the guy down.
He's just ready.
Say something to me. Say one thing to me so I can tee you up. And a point there. Nice play. That was Hawkins getting the block. He's 6'7". They got him in there as a blocking specialist. And it's 14-8. Pretty good pass. That time off the head of Hawkins. Chance for another point. Ooh, and an ugly set. Ball got stuck on Whitescarver.
And right now the Bruins saying just finished. Talaferro pleading to his team to push 1. They're blocking has scored points for them all season long, whether it's an ace or a block. They're a great point scoring team, just can't get off 14.
7th match point. And Penn State running the offense. Where the Bruins have let down is their serving. They're not pounding the serve, so Penn State can side out easily.
Yeah, running their offense with ease, and we're getting a chance late in this 3rd game to see just how good Quinones is at running an offense.
So serving is Zelko Koljasar. Always the potential to pop some aces. UCLA on the attack. And in the middle to Seth Burnham. Let's check Burnham's numbers. 11 kills. He's got a couple of blocks, an ace. And a little bit of intimidation.
Good night.
Yeah. And Talaferro will try to end it. UCLA's best rotation. Talaferro on match point number 8. Quinones sets left. And hitting it off the hands. Good shot there by Jason Hawkins. You know, this kid looks pretty good.
That's a gutsy shot, too. Going with all the power as much as you can just for the tool. I mean, that's an inch away from being the match.
So Hawkins looking to detonate here. Can he get his jumper in? UCLA leading 14-8. Floater. And Thatcher suddenly has gone cold. He hits it out. And Al Skates looks up at the scoreboard and sees it's now 14-9.
And the last thing you want to do if you're Al Skates is take this to a game 4, because right now Penn State has all the momentum in their favor.
Tell you what, they get another point. You got to have a timeout or take out Ratledge. Or take out Thatcher and put in Ratledge. As Mountain pounds it down. Skates is looking down the bench, and he's got a guy going over there and telling Comer to get ready.
Good blocking lineup right now, though, with Williams, Thatcher, and Burnham.
9th time. Match point, left side, trouble. UCLA has it up. This could be it. Who'll take the swing? And it's stuffed. So Mount.
Nobody wants to be the one to put the ball away, playing much too tentative. You've got to take the risk rather than just letting up. This time Mount just goes for the top spin against the triple block, but if you do that, you have to get it high enough to drop over the block.
UCLA led 11-5 and 14-6. It is now 14-9. And a nice shot by Evan Thatcher. So Thatcher pounds it down. The Bruins with another match point. This one number 10. Serving will be Burnham. He's been using a little jump floaty. Quinones sets quick, and a nice punch by Whitescarver. Whitescarver, the final match as a Nittany Lion number 4 as possible. Right here, put a little pressure on UCLA.
Stay on the court as long as possible. It's so hard not to think about this could be my last play as a collegiate player.
Left side, right through the seam of the block goes Mark Williams. Let's run down the UCLA hitters. Williams with 12, Burnham with 11, Thatcher leads all with 16, Mount with 9, Morrow with 7.
And UCLA with some nice balance and distribution. Credit Talaferro.
Serve out of bounds. Score remains 14-9.
Right now is where you can't get tense. Every UCLA player's got to be thinking about the fact that they can't seal the deal here, so they just have to play loose, relax a little bit.
Off-speed ace. Now Al Skates has 2 timeouts remaining. And UCLA, the Bruin lead has shrunk to 4.
I think part of Al wants his team to bounce out of it themselves. He doesn't want to have to use the timeout and wants them to work it out themselves.
Over the top goes number 14, Scott Morrow.
Al Skate's certainly not saving those timeouts, but trying to teach this team how to rebound.
And interestingly, Al Skates just walked over and told his blockers, watch where 9 is going. Watch where 9, that's Carlos Guerra. They think they're going to set Guerra here. Watch him. Number 9 in blue, let's see. 14-10, another match point for UCLA. It's the 12th one. Hey, serve, that's it. Finally, UCLA able to dispose of Penn State. So Penn State finishes its season at 20-14. UCLA moving on for the 22nd time. The Bruins advancing to the national championship behind their All-America setter, Brendan Talaferro. Mark Pavlik, it is wait until next year. All right, we're coming back. UCLA moving along. We'll have more for you from Fort Wayne right after this. Welcome back to the Memorial Coliseum here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. UCLA sweeps Penn State 3-0. 15-11, 15-8, 15-10. The Bruins move on to play the winner of Ohio State and Pepperdine. Heather Cox, final thoughts. A workmanlike win for the Bruins.
Well, I think UCLA played with a confidence that really allowed every facet of their game to be just one notch above Penn State's, and especially the serve and the block by the Bruins really took Penn State out of any offensive rhythm. Never really got it going tonight for the Nittany Lions.
Evan Thatcher led UCLA with 16 kills. Carlos Guerra had 17 kills for Penn State. Final score, UCLA 3, Penn State 0. Coming up next is the NBA Tonight. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. For Heather Cox and the rest of our ESPN crew, I'm Chris Marlowe. Hope to see you tomorrow night for semifinals. Watching national semifinal number 1, Penn State and UCLA. Now, due to time constraints, we move ahead to further action in our coverage. This is national semifinal number 1 between Penn State and UCLA. Now, due to time constraints, we move ahead to further action in our coverage.